Okay guys, welcome back to another session. So in the first session about candlestick, we have learned about the green and the red Morobuzu, right? The green indicates buying and the red indicates selling. And the wicks indicate the high and the low of that particular days, right? So now we will learn about the types of pattern that is there in the market. I'll make sure that you learn the most effective patterns. Okay, there can be a names with same pattern with different names. Okay, some will call a hanging man a spin bar, something like that. So I'll give you a name that is very common so that you understand it better, and I'll give you an easy name so that it can just stick in your mind. Okay, so there are types of pattern. We have one type of candlestick pattern, two types of candlestick pattern, and three types of candlestick pattern, and there are even four types of candlestick patterns. But as we're going to discuss on the patterns that are very effective, so to start off, I'm going to start with the simplest one, that is a doji pattern. So what is a doji pattern? The doji pattern looks like this. Okay. Okay, this is how a doji pattern looks like. So what is the psychology behind this pattern? Okay, this is a confusion pattern. Okay, this is called a confusion or a neutral pattern, which means, as we have discussed, that this is the opening, right? Opening, and this is the closing. But you see that here in opening here, the sellers try to push down the market, but it was not able to, and even the buyers try to push the market, but they are not able to sustain. Okay, because as we have known that green indicates buying, okay, and red indicates selling, right? But the wicks here indicates the buying. Okay, if the wick is higher, the upside is called as buying, the downside is called as selling, right? In a wick, simple to understand, I guess. So here there is a confusion because the sellers open red and try to push down the market but not able to sustain it. The buyers even try to push up the market but not able to sustain it, and they close between the opening and closing. Okay, so this is called a neutral or a confusion candle. Okay, because they are closing just near the opening and buying. No one is able to take a lead. Okay, this is the doji candle. I be clear. So what does this doji candle, how can we trade with doji candle? What is the power of this? Okay, so as doji indicates a confusion, the next day candle can be used for trading. Okay, so let's say that this is a doji candle in a downtrend, assume that, and the next day if we see another red candle here like this, okay, then we can consider going short, means we can sell into the market. And what if this one goes up like this, and if it's a green candle, then we can consider buying. Okay, because after a confusion, after breaking this area, the highs, okay, buyers to control, and after breaking this low, okay, breaking this low, the seller to control. Okay, simple as that. So let's look at some of the example of doji candle. Okay, I think you can clearly see it from here. Okay, see a downtrend, right? A doji was formed. Okay, and you see a red candle. This is where the sellers took control. Okay, and it didn't go down but it went up. So you must be wondering, so you're saying that this is a confusion candle, and the next day you're saying a red candle, so we can short, right? No, you just don't simply go and short any type of market. We will learn about that in the coming session. Okay, so let's look at some more doji candles, so that you understand what I'm talking here. Okay, here you see a doji here, right? This is a doji candle. Okay, and then the next day it is a green candle. So what you do, we go long, right? Because here buyers have taken control. Okay, so when this doji usually form? Okay, and when do we consider this doji? When the market, okay, is in a downtrend, and doji can indicate that the trend is going to end, and in an uptrend a doji can also indicate that the trend is going to get over. Remember this, in a downtrend, a doji can indicate, doesn't mean that it should be 100% true, but a doji can indicate that there is confusion whether they should push down the market or they should reverse from here. Okay, so as we can clearly see here, it is in a downtrend. The particular script is in a downtrend, and you see a doji forming here. So what does this indicate? This doji indicate there's a confusion between buyers and sellers. And the next day, what happened? You see that the buyers took control of this area. The high is taken up and it went up. Simple as that. So let's look at some of the examples, even in a shorting side, right? Okay, even here, this is a type of doji, right? See, a doji is formed in an uptrend. A doji is formed, okay, and this is causing a confusion. The buyers are pushing up, okay, and there's a confusion here. So they're fighting between the buyer and seller whether the price should go up or down. But you can see here that after the doji is formed, the next day you see there is a red candle, which means the seller took control, okay, and then you short here, right? I hope you're understanding. So doji is simple, nothing but it's just a neutral candle, okay? It's just a confusion candle between the buyers and sellers. So this is the one candle about doji, and the next single candle we will discuss it in a few seconds, okay? Okay, so the next candle is a hammer, okay? There are types of hammer. There is a inverted hammer, okay? There's a hammer, there can be red, green, okay? There are types. So I'll just explain it to you. First, I'll just draw a bullish hammer, okay? So this is a hammer, okay? And let's draw this as a bearish hammer. Okay, so when do we use this bullish or bearish hammer? Okay, so hammers, this type of hammers can happen in any place of the market, okay? It can be at the high or low, but when do we consider this hammer to be effective? It is effective when it is in a downtrend, okay? So you must have known what is downtrend, uptrend and downtrend, right? So this is a downtrend and this is a uptrend, okay? So this hammer, whether be it red or green, becomes effective in a downtrend. So let's look at some of the examples here, okay? What can we say? Hammer, we can see a hammer here, right? On hammer, but this is not a clear downtrend, so I'll look for a very good example, okay, so that you understand it better. You know, sometimes it's hard to even find a hammer because these things usually don't occur much, but then you can keep this into consideration, okay? Okay, you see one hammer here. Okay, this is a hammer, you see. So as we have discussed, what is this hammer for? Okay, you can see even there's a hammer here. So like a doji candle, a hammer is also a signal, you know, to give that the trend is likely to end, okay? Suppose in a downtrend, if you see this hammer, then you can assume that the downtrend is likely to end. Why? I'll give you a psychological point here. This is a hammer, okay, as you see, and this is a wick. So what is this wick? This wick is where it went down, right? Then why did it go up again? Because of buying pressure, right? Here the sellers are pushing down the market. See, the sellers are pushing. So it would have been a murubuzu, right? A black murubuzu, but why it became a hammer? because there is a buyers present here. Buyers are buying, that is the reason it went up. So in a downtrend, when this thing happen, okay, it indicates that buyers are coming into the market. Okay, buyers are coming into the market. This indicates, this type of wicks, a hammer, indicates that buyers are coming. So there's a high chance that the trend is going to end. Okay, we cannot just say 100%, but there is a high chance that, because big monies are coming into this area, okay, these wicks. So the next day, when you see that there is a green candle that is overtaking it, okay, a green candle that is overtaking it, then we consider this as an entry. Okay, we will take entry after this. That is how this candle is. And even here you see happen. Okay, let me give you a thing here, that the hammer should not be perfectly hammer. Okay, you can have some small wick here like this. A small wick can be there, like example here and here. You can see a small wick present, right? This is natural, this would happen, okay, but not a very big wick. A big wick is not considered. A small wick like this can be into a consideration. Okay, so the color can be anything. It can be red or green in a downtrend. So likewise in an uptrend, okay, you may even find a candle something like this. Usually it doesn't happen in a top, but then sometimes it tends to happen. Okay, so we're not finding it here, so I'll just skip this part. Okay, because I'll tell you, the hammer will not usually happen in a uptrend. Okay, it happens sometimes, but we cannot consider that. Once that happens, just avoid it. You don't need to even look at it. I was trying to explain to you so that you understand. Okay, so now that we have learned about the hammer here, what about in an uptrend? There can be something called as inverted hammer. Okay, like this. Like I've explained, in a downtrend, the wick indicate the buying pressure, right? So in an uptrend, whether be it red or green, this indicate what? What does this wick indicate in an uptrend? In downtrend, the wick indicates, let's bring this down so that I can give better examples. In a downtrend, this wick indicates, a hammer wick indicates a buying pressure. In an uptrend, this wick indicates a selling pressure. Okay, so assume that buyers are buying it here. Okay, they're buying, they're pushing the market higher and higher, and when it reach here, one day you found this hammer here like this, inverted hammer. Then what you can know is, you can keep in your mind that sellers are coming into the market, because buyers push the market up here, but then seller push it down in this area again. That is the reason the wick was created. Okay, so this can indicate, the hammer, the inverted hammer can indicate that the uptrend is going to end. Okay, so let's look at some of the examples of this inverted hammer. Okay, this one you may find a lot. Okay, let's just scroll. Okay, you see one here. It's not perfect, but we can, this is a very good example. Okay, so you see here that the buyers are pushing the market higher and higher. Okay, you can clearly see they're pushing it higher, and one fine day something happened here. What is this? What is this candle? This is called an inverted hammer, and I've explained about the psychology behind this, right? Buyers are still trying to push the price higher, but then after reaching this area, the sellers took control and then push down the market. Okay, so this is a first warning that, hey, the trend is going to change in the market. Okay, the first we learn about doji, where doji is indicating a confusion, and the next day the candle we take the trade in, right? Here hammer, inverted hammer is indicating, it has indicated sellers are present, and the next day it fell. See, went down. Okay, so this is about the hammer and inverted hammer. Hammer is usually used when it's in a downtrend and when there is a high chances that the market is going to change, right? I'll explain it to you better so that you don't get confused later, because these are basic things. So a hammer, okay, a hammer is taken into consideration when the market is in a downtrend. Okay, in a downtrend, when this hammer is formed, then we take this into a reversal consideration. And in an uptrend, we take a red candle, this inverted hammer, to be the trend reversal candle. Okay, this is one way to understand that the trend is going to change. Okay, these are the two single candles patterns that you need to understand into the market. Okay, and the second and third candle we will learn it in another session. So thank you so much for watching. See you guys there. Bye for now.